Albert Einstein dedicated his entire life to deciphering the laws that govern the universe. He mastered relativity. He conquered quantum mechanics. He unraveled the very fabric of space and time. But there was one enigma, just one, that eluded his grasp, and it lingered in his thoughts, haunting him until his final days. In January of 1954, merely 15 months before his passing, Einstein penned a letter, a private letter, addressed to a philosopher named Professor Charles Abernathy. Within that letter, Einstein revealed something that, if truly understood, would send shockwaves through the world. He confessed that despite his vast knowledge, despite his groundbreaking discoveries, something fundamental about existence remained tantalizingly beyond his reach. This very letter, sold at auction in 2018 for a staggering $2.9 million, and its contents, they reshape everything we thought we understood about history's greatest mind. Before I unveil Einstein's admission in that letter, it's essential to grasp a crucial concept. Einstein was not an atheist. He himself stated, and I quote, "I am not an atheist. I prefer to describe myself as a religious non-believer." End quote. Confused. Most people are. When they first encounter this paradox, how can one be religious, yet simultaneously lack belief? The key lies in a concept Einstein termed the cosmic religious feeling. Though in 1930, Einstein composed an essay that would crystallize his spiritual philosophy. Within it, he identified three distinct types of religious experience. The first, religion born of fear. Primitive humans trembling before death, terrified by storms and the vast unknown, conjuring gods to explain what filled them with dread. The second, religion born of social imperative, humans yearning for community, for morality, for rules to guide their lives, creating gods who reward virtuous deeds and punish transgression. But the third type of religion. This is what Einstein passionately believed in. He called it the cosmic religious feeling. So, what is this cosmic religious feeling? Einstein elucidated it thus. It's the profound awe, the unshakable wonder, that arises from contemplating the grandeur of the universe. It's devoid of dogma, devoid of church, devoid of commandments. It's simply the overwhelming sensation that the universe is, in some inexplicable way, ordered. That there are laws, beautiful, mathematical laws, governing everything, from the tiniest particle to the most colossal galaxy, and that these laws unveil something deeply mysterious. Now, this is where things become truly compelling. Einstein placed his faith in what he termed Spinozas God. Back in 1929, Rabbi Herbert Goldstein dispatched a telegram to Einstein, posing a simple, direct question: "Do you believe in God?" Einstein responded, and I quote, "I believe in Spinozas God, who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists, not in a God who concerns himself with the fates and actions of human beings." End quote. This is of utmost importance to comprehend. Einstein didn't subscribe to a personal God, a God who listens to prayers, a God who judges actions, a God who intervenes in human affairs. However, he unquestionably believed in something he couldn't fully articulate. Spinoza, a philosopher from the 1600s, perceived God and nature as two facets of the same entity, not a supernatural being, gazing down from some celestial realm, but the infinite substance of reality itself, the laws of physics, the architecture of the cosmos, the mathematical harmony that underpins all of existence. That, to both Spinoza and Einstein, was God. But here lies the profound mystery that haunted Einstein throughout his life. If these laws exist, who authored them? Einstein employed a beautiful analogy to illustrate his confusion. He said, "Imagine a child, a small, inquisitive child, stumbling into a vast, imposing library. The walls, completely lined from floor to ceiling, with books written in every conceivable language. The child inherently knows that someone must have written these books. But who? The child is incapable of deciphering the languages, cannot comprehend the words, and cannot fathom who the author might be. Yet, the child can clearly perceive that there is order here, a system in place, a pattern emerging. Someone meticulously organized this library. Someone orchestrated this arrangement, Einstein stated, and I quote, "That is the attitude of the human mind toward God. We see a universe marvelously arranged, obeying certain laws, but we understand the laws only dimly. Our limited minds cannot grasp the mysterious force that sways the constellations." End quote. Faustine, read that passage once more. Our limited minds cannot grasp the mysterious force that sways the constellations. This is what Einstein couldn't reconcile. Not the question of God's existence, which, to him, was evident in some form, but rather, what God truly is, where God originates from, how the laws of the universe came into being. The ultimate lawgiver, the entity behind the laws themselves, that remained forever a profound and perplexing mystery. In an interview with William Hermans, Einstein articulated something that exposed the depth of his inner turmoil. Quote, "God is a mystery, but a comprehensible mystery. I have nothing but awe when I observe the laws of nature. There are not laws without a lawgiver, but how does this lawgiver look? Certainly not like a man magnified." End quote. There are not laws without a lawgiver. Reflect on what he is admitting here. Einstein, the very man who possessed a more profound understanding of the universe than anyone else in history, acknowledged that laws necessitate a lawgiver, yet remained unable to explain who or what that lawgiver might be. This is what haunted him relentlessly, not doubt. He harbored no doubt that something existed, but rather inability. The sheer inability to fully comprehend what that something truly was. Allow me to transport you back to the genesis of this intellectual quest. In 1905, a young, relatively unknown patent clerk in Switzerland published 4 groundbreaking papers that would irrevocably transform the field of physics. One of these papers contained the now famous equation E equals mc squared. Another meticulously described the photoelectric effect, which would subsequently earn him the coveted Nobel Prize. But what remains largely unknown to most people is that even as a young man, Einstein was already deeply grappling with the question of God. He was raised in a secular Jewish household. His father identified as an agnostic. His mother hailed from a family of astute businessmen, but at the age of 12, an event transpired that would irrevocably change Einstein forever. He devoured a book on geometry, and for the very first time, he glimpsed the hidden order that lay beneath the surface of reality. He would later characterize this pivotal moment as nothing short of a religious experience. Not religious in the conventional sense, but rather a profound awakening to the undeniable fact that the universe adheres to rules, beautiful, elegant, mathematical rules. From that transformative moment onward, Einstein was utterly consumed by a single, overarching question: why is the universe so meticulously ordered, and who orchestrated it? Throughout his illustrious career, Einstein relentlessly returned to this fundamental question. He engaged in extensive correspondence with theologians, philosophers, and fellow scientists, anyone who might offer insight. In 1936, he received a letter from a 6th grade student named Phyllis. She asked him a simple question: do scientists pray? Einstein's response reveals his lifelong struggle. I wrote, quote, "Everyone who is seriously involved in the pursuit of science becomes convinced that some spirit is manifest in the laws of the universe, a spirit vastly superior to that of man, and one in the face of which we, with our modest powers, must feel humble." End quote. A spirit vastly superior to that of man. This is what Einstein believed. Not a God who answers prayers, not a God who performs miracles, but a spirit, an intelligence, a something, embedded in the laws themselves. But what was this spirit? Einstein spent decades trying to understand. He studied philosophy, reading Kant and Schopenhauer. He corresponded with mystics and theologians. He debated with Niels Bohr about the nature of reality, and always, he returned to the same conclusion. Something is there, but I cannot explain what it is. Consider the precision of the universe for a moment. The gravitational constant, the speed of light, the mass of the electron. If any of these values were slightly different, the universe could not exist as we know it. Stars would not form, atoms would not bond, life would be impossible. Einstein was deeply aware of this fine-tuning. He saw it as evidence of something. Though he could not say what, he wrote, quote, "I want to know God's thoughts. The rest are details." End quote. God's thoughts. Not God as a person, but God as the mind behind the mathematics, the intelligence that chose the constants, established the laws, created the order. That was what Einstein wanted to understand, and that was what he never could. He wrote, quote, "Everything is determined by forces over which we have no control. It is determined for the insect as well as for the star. Human beings, vegetables, or cosmic dust. We all dance to a mysterious tune, intoned in the distance by an invisible piper." End quote. An invisible piper, a mysterious tune, forces beyond our control. Einstein could hear the music of the cosmos, but could not see the musician. Now I want to show you something most people have never seen. In that 1954 letter to Professor Charles Abernathy, the one that sold for millions, Einstein wrote, quote, "The word God is for me nothing more than the expression and product of human weaknesses. The Bible, a collection of honorable but still primitive legends, which are nevertheless pretty childish." End quote. If you stop reading there, you might think Einstein rejected God entirely, but you would be wrong. What Einstein rejected was the human version of God, the old man in the sky, the judge, the personal deity who cares about your prayers. That, to Einstein, was primitive superstition. But the order, the harmony, the mathematical beauty of existence, that was undeniable, inescapable, and utterly mysterious. Here is what most people miss. Einstein was not saying God does not exist. He was saying God is not what religion claims. The true God, if we can call it that, is the fabric of reality itself, the laws that govern atoms and galaxies, the equations that describe space and time, the order that somehow, against all odds, exists, and that is what Einstein could not explain. Why is there order instead of chaos? Why do mathematical laws exist at all? Why does the universe obey rules? Think about it. There is no logical reason why reality should be organized. No reason why mathematics should describe the physical world. No reason why patterns should exist at a cosmic scale, yet they do. And that fact, and that inexplicable fact, is what Einstein called the cosmic religious feeling. The sense that there is meaning in the structure of existence, even if we cannot understand what that meaning is. In his final years, Einstein spoke about this more openly. He said, quote, "The most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible." End quote. Read that carefully. The universe follows rules we can understand, at least partially. Our tiny primate brains, evolved for survival on the African savanna, can somehow decode the laws governing black holes and quantum particles. Why? Why should the universe be comprehensible at all? Einstein found this deeply mysterious, deeply significant, and ultimately unexplainable. Some scientists today dismiss these questions. They say, the laws just are. There is no why. But Einstein disagreed. He believed that the existence of order was the greatest mystery of all. More mysterious than black holes, than quantum entanglement, than the origin of the universe itself, because if laws exist, something must have established them. If order exists, something must have ordered. And that something, that lawgiver, that invisible piper, that is what Einstein could never explain. Now, I want you to consider something. And if the greatest scientific mind in history could not solve this mystery, what does that tell us, Ace? It tells us that some questions may be beyond human comprehension, that our minds, as brilliant as they can be, have limits, that we are like children in a library, reading the books, sensing the order, but never fully understanding who wrote them. Einstein accepted this with humility. He did not pretend to have answers he did not have. He simply acknowledged the mystery and stood in awe of it. This is perhaps Einstein's greatest gift to us, not his equations, though those changed the world, but his honesty about what he did not know, his willingness to say, "I cannot explain this," his admission that at the heart of reality lies something he could not grasp. In one of his last statements on religion, Einstein wrote, quote, "My religion consists of a humble admiration of the illimitable superior spirit who reveals himself in the slight details we are able to perceive with our frail and feeble minds. That deeply emotional conviction of the presence of a superior reasoning power, which is revealed in the incomprehensible universe, forms my idea of God." End quote. The presence of a superior reasoning power, revealed in the incomprehensible universe, Einstein believed something was there, something beyond human understanding, something that explained why the laws exist, why order prevails, why reality makes sense, but he could not name it, could not describe it, could not prove it. He could only feel it. You just learned what the greatest mind in history could not explain. The one thing that haunted Albert Einstein until his final breath. This is the information they don't teach in schools, because it raises questions that have no easy answers. When you click Super Thanks, you are supporting the search for truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth might be. Every contribution helps bring more hidden knowledge to light. So what does this mean for you? It means you are allowed to not know. Einstein, with all his genius, admitted there were things beyond his grasp, things he simply could not comprehend. If he could embrace mystery, so can you. You don't need to have all the answers. You really don't. You don't need to pretend you understand everything. You can stand in awe of existence, just as Einstein did. And that awe, that wonder, that humility before the unknown, that is the cosmic religious feeling. That is what Einstein called the most mature form of spirituality. Not belief in dogma, not adherence to tradition, but simple, profound awe. The universe is ordered, and we do not know why. Laws exist, and we do not know who wrote them. Reality makes sense, and we do not know how. Einstein could not explain these things, neither can anyone else. And perhaps that is exactly as it should be. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain mysteries. Perhaps the question is more important than the answer. Perhaps the search and the wonder, the awe, is the point. Let me share something that most biographies leave out. In his private moments, Einstein would often sit alone and stare at the stars. He did this throughout his life, from his youth in Germany to his final years in Princeton. He would look up at the night sky and wonder, how did all this come to be? The equations could describe how the stars move, but not why they exist at all. The mathematics could predict where planets would be in 1,000 years, but not who set them in motion. Einstein felt this gap, this unexplained space, more deeply than anyone. He truly did. His colleague and biographer Abraham Pace once asked him what he thought about during these moments. Einstein replied, quote, "I think about how strange it is that the universe exists at all, and how much stranger that we can understand parts of it." End quote. That we can understand parts of it. This phrase reveals Einstein's humility. He understood parts, not all. The greatest mind in history admitted there were things beyond his reach, things that would remain forever mysterious. Some people ask why this matters. Why should we care about what Einstein could or could not explain? The answer is simple, because it gives us permission to not know. We live in a world that demands answers, certainty, explanations for everything. But Einstein showed us that even the greatest genius must eventually bow before mystery, that there is no shame in saying, "I do not understand," that the pursuit of truth is more valuable than pretending to have found it. It's about the journey. Einstein received thousands of letters throughout his life from people asking about God, religious leaders wanting his endorsement, atheists hoping he would join their cause, ordinary people seeking comfort about death, about meaning, about purpose, bored to all of them. Einstein gave the same honest answer. He did not know. He could not prove God exists. But he could not prove God does not exist either. All he could do was stand in awe of the order he saw everywhere, and admit that its origin remained beyond his grasp. It was simply beyond him. In April 1955, just days before his death, Einstein was working on a unified field theory, his lifelong dream of combining all the forces of nature into one elegant equation. He believed that if he could find this equation, he would come closer to understanding the lawgiver. He would see a glimpse of God's thoughts. But he ran out of time. On April 18, 1955, Albert Einstein died in his sleep. His last words were spoken in German, a language his night nurse did not understand. We will never know what he said. Perhaps it was about physics, perhaps about Mileva or his sons, or perhaps, in that final moment, he finally glimpsed what he had spent his life searching for. The one thing about God he could never explain. There is a story, perhaps apocryphal, that in his final hours, Einstein muttered about seeing something, a pattern, a structure, something that made sense of everything. Whether this is true means we cannot verify, but it speaks to a deep human longing, the longing to understand, to see behind the curtain, to know the lawgiver. Einstein felt this longing more intensely than almost anyone who has ever lived, and he died still feeling it. What can we learn from this? First, that genius has limits. Even the most brilliant mind cannot answer every question. Some mysteries persist, perhaps forever. Second, that humility is wisdom. Einstein could have pretended to know, could have invented answers, could have claimed certainty he did not have, but he did not. He admitted his limitations, and in doing so, showed us true intellectual courage. Third, that a war is appropriate. When you look at the stars tonight, remember that Einstein looked at those same stars and felt the same wonder you feel, the same confusion, the same humility, the same sense that something vast and incomprehensible lies behind it all. You are not alone in your uncertainty. The greatest mind shared it. There is one final thing I want you to understand. Einstein was not a pessimist about this mystery. He wasn't discouraged. He did not despair because he could not explain the lawgiver. Instead, he found joy in the search itself. He once said, quote, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when contemplating the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery each day." End quote. A little of this mystery each day. That was Einstein's approach, not demanding all the answers at once, but finding satisfaction in the gradual unfolding of understanding, even knowing he would never reach the end. This is perhaps the most liberating lesson Einstein offers us. You do not need to solve the mystery of existence. You only need to appreciate it. You do not need to understand the lawgiver. You only need to recognize the laws. You do not need to grasp the infinite. You only need to stand in awe of it. The cosmic religious feeling Einstein described is available to anyone. You do not need a PhD in physics. You do not need to understand relativity or quantum mechanics. You only need to look up at the stars and wonder, to feel small in the presence of immensity, to sense that there is order where there could have been chaos. That is the feeling Einstein treasured above all others, and it is yours if you want it. In the next video, I will reveal where Einstein believed you go when you die, his theory about what happens to consciousness after physical death, based on his understanding of energy, matter, and the laws he spent his life studying. What he concluded will change how you think about your own mortality. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe there is a lawgiver behind the laws? Or do you think the universe simply exists without reason? Comment below, lawgiver or no reason, and tell me, what is the one thing about existence that you cannot explain? I read every comment in the first 2 hours, so let me know. Thank you for watching until the end. Einstein spent 70 years searching for answers. He found many, but not all. The greatest mind admitted he could not explain everything. And that admission, that honesty, that humility, may be his most important lesson of all. Until next time, stay curious, stay humble, stay in awe. The lawgiver remains a mystery, but the search for understanding continues. And that search is what makes us human.